Success means different things to different people, but there are some timeless truths about what it takes to get to the top. Now, I'm not just talking about property or property investment, but in all elements of one's life. One of the most successful books of all time about success happens to be Think and Grow Rich, which was written nearly 80 years ago by Napoleon Hill. In this book and further texts and lectures, Hill explored the traits which lead to exceptional success. So today I'd like to discuss 19 of them with you. Firstly, successful people have a purpose. According to Hill, we can all become very successful if we just make up our minds about how much success we wanted, how we define success, and on what terms we want to evaluate success. He explains that all successful people started with a certain amount of dreaming, hoping, planning, and desiring before they became rich. They imagined riches before they saw them in their bank accounts. Hill explains, wishing will not bring riches, but desiring rich with a state of mind that becomes an obsession, and then planning definite ways and means to acquire riches, and then backing them up with plans, with persistence which doesn't recognise failure, that will bring riches. Successful people also have faith. Growing rich starts with your mindset, with the belief and the faith that you can accumulate the wealth, according to Hill, who says, if you can imagine it, you can create it. Successful people are also decision makers. The key trait in all successful people Hill studied was decisiveness. They don't procrastinate since they recognise making bad decisions better than not making a decision at all. Successful people also gain specialised knowledge. They focus their attention and energy on becoming an expert in one field rather than diversifying. They tend to be voracious readers and never stop learning, but they recognise that education and knowledge isn't really power, it's only potential power. The real power comes from taking action and implementing that knowledge. Successful people aren't the smartest people in their team either. They recognise that if they surround themselves with other smart, successful people whose capability and talents complement their own, they're going to be much better off. They form mastermind groups with these people who share their vision, recognising that a group of creative minds are exponentially more powerful than one. Successful people exhibit self-control. They know how to control their emotions, not letting disappointments crush their spirits or their achievements lead to cockiness. They understand that self-control is a muscle which, when exercised, gets stronger. They know that pursuing a dream and the goals around the dream increases self-control. Also, successful people don't give up. Hill says it's not only necessary to withstand difficulty, but to use your setbacks to motivate you to try even harder. Successful people find productive uses for their creativity. They make an impact on this world by finding ways to direct their imagination in a constructive way. According to Hill, successful people are open. They have open minds on all sorts of subjects and on people. That's why they're not quick to judge others. Instead, they independently gather all the information they need about a person or about a topic before making an opinion. They're also active listeners. Most successful people don't use conversations to fuel their own self-worth, but rather as a way of learning from other people. And they also learn from their mistakes. A key difference between those who achieve their purpose and those who fall short is the perception of mistakes as a worthwhile educational experience rather than humiliating failures. Successful people aren't afraid of criticism. Hill says if you aspire to do something noteworthy in your field, you're going to draw criticism regardless of who you are or how well you do your job. That's why successful people aren't overly concerned with critical remarks, but they do pay attention to the ones that have merit and they learn lessons from them. Successful people are also loyal, and they understand who has a right to their loyalty. This may be somebody who's helped them climb the ladder, or who has acted as a mentor to them, and no matter how successful they become, they remember and respect that person and remain loyal to them. They're also charismatic, but believe it or not, charismatic people weren't born that way. Instead, they've adopted the practice of listening closely to whoever is speaking, as well as being sympathetic to their perspectives. Successful people are detail-oriented. Sure, they've got a big picture focus, but they also know when to pay attention to detail, continuously observing all that's happening around them, the good and the bad things, the positives and the negatives. And successful people accept responsibility. They don't blame others or act as a victim. Instead, they accept the blame if it's due. According to Hill, success requires no explanation and failure permits no alibis. Successful people aren't jealous. they're comfortable with themselves and don't seek praise from others or become jealous at their peers' successes. In fact, they admire the success of other people. And the last trait is that successful people are self-reliant. The upper echelon of successful people have a degree of self-reliance that allows them to pursue their definite purpose regardless of any circumstances or naysayers. They trust their sixth senses, Hill calls it. There you have it. 19 traits of successful people. Interestingly, Hill says none of us are born with those traits, so you can learn them too and also become successful. The good news is that Hill believes that people weren't born with these traits, but could learn them. So now, it's up to you. One of the traits successful people have is they surround themselves with exceptional people and form mastermind groups, as I said. That's because alone, you're vulnerable, but connected, we're strong. That's because it's really easy to fall back onto your old habits or let negative outside influences dramatically impact our mindset and our financial results. Unfortunately, many investors think they've got to do it all on their own or learn it all themselves, partly because they think they know better than others, or maybe it's because they're not hanging around with the right, supportive, encouraging people. And that gets harder to find these people the more successful you are. But we can't be our best selves in isolation from the world. We need other people. The key is making sure we're spending the time with the right, inspiring, empowering, encouraging people. And that's why I suggest you join me at Wealth Retreat 2016 on the Gold Coast in May this year, where I've put together the best faculty of like-minded people in a room full of other movers and shakers like you. If you're already a successful property investor, business person or entrepreneur, why don't you go to wealthretreat.com.au and find out about Australia's ultimate networking and learning experience for entrepreneurs, business people and traders.